Well, good morning. This is take 2 of the episode. I was trying a new way of recording, and I thought it would be fun as my last Moscow Saturday to take you all on a normal Saturday morning for Faith and I, and had the on the go recording setup all good and going. I thought it was recording. Not a single thing recorded. So I had about almost 2.5 hours of audio that I had put together for today's episode, and unfortunately, none of it actually recorded. So I'm gonna do my best to recap some of what we talked about today. And I didn't prepare topics specifically for today because it was going to be off the cuff, like, oh, here's this about Moscow, here's that about Moscow. And it turned out really great. I had 2.5 hours of really good audio that I was trying to figure out how I was going to cut down when I got here. Got back, put my SD card SD card into the computer, and there's nothing there. So we're left with me trying to redo it. And the crazy thing is, I had been saving this whole time. I had this whole joke saved up for the first time Faith was going to be on this podcast because she's never appeared on this. And I told the joke today this morning on our walk to the farmer's market on this podcast. And she's like, well, the good thing is if this doesn't record, you can still make that joke after the wedding, and I'll just hold off till then. And lo and behold, she jinxed it. I'm blaming her for us not having any audio today. So here we are. Today is the last Saturday in Moscow for me. And it feels weird because I have spent 8, almost 9-ish years of the 10 years of my adult life living here. And moving to Texas was, it was a 2-year stint. Moved in June of 2020, right? And then came back in 2022. So I spent the COVID years in Texas. So I didn't really get the full experience, And when I moved to Texas, I also was like, everyone was like, oh, you're never coming back, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, no. You guys don't understand. I know that this is temporary. And they were like, oh, no, it's not. I'm like, no. It is temporary. I always knew it was. And it was. I came back. But moving to Boise, that's 6 hours away from my family, an hour and a half away from Faith's family. I know that this is the place where I am building a new life. This is where I'm going to have my kids. This is where I'm going to raise my kids. It's at least the next 20 to 25 years of my life are going to be in Boise, greater Boise area. So I know that I'm not coming back to Moscow. That's the key thing. When I moved to Texas, I knew that I would be coming back to Moscow someday. So it's a big change. And instead of, this is the next phase of my life. This is home base for the next 25 years, which sounds like so long. That's pretty much the rest of my working life. My next move is after the Boise area is wherever I plan on retiring, Which honestly, I'd probably rather just grab, at this point, if I can't have my perfect little tiny home village with all my friends and family, I think I'd rather take an RV and just travel the country. Sell the house or like something, just really knock it down to the bare minimum, like a tiny house, or not a tiny house, like a very small place just to hold our stuff to come back to and sit in the summer or something, or the winter or whatever. Anyways, that's retirement. That's 25 years from now. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about right now. So we went to the farmer's market as our last little hoorah here on a normal Saturday morning in Moscow. And there were so many things to talk about, but I'm not going to recreate those conversations because that's not authentic, and that probably would come off kind of boring. But we did Faith got crepes. I got some very nice Filipino breakfast food, and I really wish that I could have saved that footage or that audio to share with you, because I had great lamosas, I think is what they were called. I'm forgetting. I think it's lamosa. Great stuff. I had pork, I had sausage, and I had chicken lamosas. They were all great. They had this like pineapple dipping sauce. Oh my god! Actually, it's not really a sauce. Like a almost maybe like kind of like chutney, like maybe a little bit. Really, really good. Faith, of course, bought this pot that she had been looking at for weeks and hasn't stopped talking about it, so she bought it. Ran into our cake decorator and friend, D&D partner, all of the above. We got to talk to her for a little bit. She also had some funny audio, but unfortunately that did not make the cut. Here we are. I need to move on past that, but I'm going to be real bummed about it for a while. But it was nice to get to walk through the farmer's market one last time. And of course, in true fashion, I did not make it to the opening bell because we misunderstood each other. She thought we wanted to leave at 8. I wanted to be there at 8. We misunderstood each other's text messages, and it just didn't work out. So it makes sense that, of course, I've been trying to make it to the opening bell for years, and I've never actually heard the opening farmer's market bell here in Moscow. It is unfortunate. I already said that. It is sad. It is very sad. But what can you do? Move on, right? We got to see all the staple places. I ran to my my coffee guys or coffee couple who I buy coffee from. I bought a expensive bag of this fruity coffee. I was like, oh, hey guys, I'm coming here. I'm here to buy my last bag or whatever. I have plans with them. I'll be back in a couple months to do something. But they're like, I'll let you pick what kind of coffee I buy today. And he's like, oh, try this one. And he's like, all right, it's our most expensive coffee. He's like, no, of course you're gonna pick the most expensive one if I ask you to do that. I would expect that at like any restaurant I did and asked that to, right? And so, anyways, I bought their most expensive coffee. I'm gonna save it just for whether my mom or my mother-in-law shows up. That's the only time I'm going to bust these beans out. I wonder how long coffee beans actually last. I don't know. Anyway, got my last bag of coffee from these guys before moving, which was just an absolute must, right? So we tried to hit all of our favorites at the farmer's market, buy a few things, enjoy some good food, good drinks, just really try to enjoy this last farmer's market because it has been, a core part of our Saturday morning routine. 9 months out of the year, it's I get up, I do this podcast, and then we go to the farmer's market. Immediately from the farmer's market, we go play cards at our favorite local game store, Safari Pearl. And if there's time in between, maybe we'll come back, take the dog out, or go estate or yard or garage shopping, whatever the hell the difference is between yard and garage shopping. Not really sure what it's supposed to be. Maybe it's a maybe it's a sexist thing. Maybe when the guy's organizing it as a garage sale, and when it's a girl or what, I'm gonna look it up. I literally have a computer sitting right in front of me. Why not look it up? Maybe it's just a regional difference. What is the difference between a garage sale and a yard sale? So, basically the only difference between a yard sale and a garage sale is the location. Yard sales typically take place in the front yard of our home or an apartment building. Garage sales are held in the owner's garage or driveway. I'm going to be honest, pretty much every yard or garage sale I've ever been to has included both the yard, the driveway, or the actual garage. So that's not a very good answer. I'm going to stake it up to it's mostly a regional thing. That's my guess here. Yeah. All those block sales? I've never heard of a block sale before. It's when multiple households from the same block agree to hold a garage or yard sale on the same day, and then it becomes a block sale. That would be amazing. A community sale, also very cool. A junk in the trunk sale, never seen one of those. Man, there's so many of these. A rummage sale, yeah. All right. There's a lot of different sales. I would love to organize a block sale. I've always thought it would be so cool to people do winter what's the word? Winter festival, not festivals, winter bazaars at like local community centers. What if someone just organized and said, we're going to have, cities do this all the time, but a big old flea market. Everyone brings their stuff that they're trying to sell, and then they just set up shop in one location. And then yeah, I wish somebody would organize those, because those seem very cool. Anyways, I forgot how we got on to this topic. But we tried to do some yard sailing today too, and couldn't find a single yard sale or garage sale, estate sale, anything. Couldn't find a single one in the entire area. We didn't bother looking online. We just drove around town, and we drove around all of the kind of main and access streets where people would have posted signs. Nothing, nada. So that was a real disappointment. So then we came back here, and that's when I tested the audio, because we're waiting for the card shop to open up. It actually doesn't open up to 11 on Saturdays. And our normal Saturday mornings complete with us being at the card shop playing specifically Lorcana. That's the game that's been scheduled on Saturdays at 11 for us. And so we're going to go there. There's a tournament today, and we don't participate in the tournaments because of, they just don't go well for us. And we're not hyper competitive, nor are we hyper smart when it comes to that kind of level of strategy that you need. And, it's a full day affair to do these tournaments. And so we gave those up after a couple of them, and now we're here. So there's no card playing for us, which is sad, because that means that unknowingly 2 weeks ago was my last time playing cards with my friends. And I was hoping to tell everyone that, this is my last weekend. It'd be great if everyone showed up so that we could all play together. But that's not going to work out this week. So instead of going out with a bang, we're going out with a whisper. Faith is going to be here one more weekend, so she's going to be able to play with everyone. Sadly, not me, but we are going to go to the store, open up one more pack, just to say that we opened one more pack together at Sapphire Pearl before moving. We're on week 3 of me having this perpetual cough, and it really, really sucks, because it's making it hard to do podcasts. And I run into this often where I'm getting multiple weeks of coughing fits, and it makes these episodes so hard to record, and just triples, maybe even quadruples the amount of work that has to go into editing these episodes, because I have to go back and fix everything. It's a nightmare on cooking ones, because I can't just edit out a piece of audio and make it sound natural. You see me moving around the screen. It drives me crazy. Anyways, I think I kind of hit on all of the major things that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, we had 2 hours of audio that I thought I had recorded with a lot of off the cuff, very much Saturday morning coffee conversations that I was really excited about, and that was great. There was a lot of audio bits that I could have added in that I thought were going to make it really interesting and an engaging episode. And unfortunately, we're ending up in this situation where I should have troubleshooted this a lot more to make sure that everything was actually going to work right and that things were actually recording. Like I said, I thought it was recording, but it was a new method, and I just forgot to test it. And look at that. These are the mistakes that I talked about earlier, which is why I switched from 365 days of content to a much more realistic schedule, because I didn't have time to do these editings. I didn't have time to do quality checks and to really learn my workstation. But here we are, still making mistakes, and hopefully I can learn from this and just try to figure it out more, because there are walking episodes that I have planned, especially moving to Boise. I want to try and do a couple of walking episodes where I go to a new coffee shop, walk up, order coffee, and then check out the neighborhood. It'll just take you along for the ride as we try to just experience a new city together. But we're going to see if that actually works out or not. Who knows? I think I didn't mention it on this new recording. But the reason I didn't... So originally I was going to make the farmer's market episode a bonus episode of normal Saturday morning, whatever would be just a fun bonus episode. But instead it replaces Saturday morning coffee, and then said here we actually are doing Saturday morning coffee, all because I spent this week only doing one of two things. Well, I guess three things, but two of them are the same. I was either cleaning this apartment, deep cleaning it, or I was playing one of two games this weekend, Age of Empires and City Skylines. And because of that, I didn't really have anything that really like the only thing that really like brought my attention this week wasn't anything I could really like do a full episode on, or even like a segment. Oh my God, segment I think was the word I was looking for a couple of weeks ago. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember trying to remember the word for segment, and here we are. I'm like, oh my God. Anyways, focus, Michael. So, like I said, I was either cleaning or playing one of two games: Age of Empires or City Skylines. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do Saturday Morning Coffee episode on those two games, and I'll either spend half the time talking about some of the really cool leaders from history that are showcased in Age of Empires, and I'll spend the other half talking about like city planning and everything that goes into it, and how much time it's been sucking away from me. And that would be that'd be a good enough episode. But I was like, no, I don't think it's going to be that engaging, especially because it's two desperate topics. Although this show is always a collection of eclectic topics in which they are all jagged and poorly related to one another. So that doesn't really stop me before. But regardless, I chose not to do that. And I wanted to take you on a Saturday morning, but here we are. Unfortunately, right back here, and instead I'm trying to recount. No, that's not the word. Watch, in 3 weeks, I'm going to remember what word I'm talking about here. Maybe it is recount. Recount the day's events. No, it's not recount. Oh my God, it's going to drive me crazy. I know it's right there. Anyways, I'll look it up later. But regardless, I actually have a couple of podcasts that I have finally found that I am comfortable recommending. And so I have a podcast this week, and it is going to be called, I recommend, War Fronts. Maybe that sounds like a little bit of a total dude podcast, but if you like short and brief history podcasts, this is definitely very good. It's high production value. It was really interesting. I specifically listened to The Ghost Army of World War II, which was about artists, stage designers, other artsy areas who were in World War II, and how they used subterfuge to save thousands of soldiers' lives by having blow-up tanks, like not blowing up tanks, but tanks that they would like fill with air, and they would have pre-recorded audio to convince the Germans that they were actually crossing the river a few kilometers up north instead of down south, where they actually were crossing. And so they saved thousands of lives using theater tricks to outsmart the Axis from World War II. And so it was just a really interesting podcast, very well done. The host clearly does extensive research in his episodes and spends a lot of time preparing these episodes and putting them out. So if you like war, or you like history, or the intersection of those two, I highly recommend War Fronts by Cloud10. And of course, it will also be in the description of this podcast. Yeah, I'm sorry this is all you got. I had hopes for so much more. But that's all I can do for you today. Thanks so much for sticking around, and enjoy the rest of your day.